Welcome, everyone. Lovely to see you, Holger. Hello, Holger. Okay, I was muted, sorry about that. Walter, Trish, Holger, hello, Alan, Patrick, Frank, Esther, hello, Judy, John, hello, Mina, hi, Grace, hey, George, hey, Adam, hi, Jenny, hello, Walt. There are two Walts, Walter and Walt. Welcome. Welcome. So welcome your experience as it is. Whatever appears to you, no need to move. Recognize yourself as this awareness. The reality which perceives. You don't need to engage in thinking in order to figure anything out in this moment. Simply allow the recognition of awareness to recognize itself as your reality. No need to imagine anything. No need to imagine yourself in any way. To simply be effortlessly this awareness. Which is your experience in this moment, every moment. Whatever appears to you is this awareness. Nothing appears to you outside of awareness. You're uninterrupted reality. Images appear on the screen, perceptions, sensations, thoughts. They arise out of awareness and appear within awareness and are perceived by awareness, which is the reality which hears these words right now. Void of objects. The intimacy of being, the intimacy of reality. Seamless. Your breath is made out of this reality. The hearing is made out of this reality. Sensing is this reality taking on the form of sensing in this moment. Never before or after, because within reality there is no time. Everything appears and disappears in your experience. Awareness does not. Body, mind, world appear and disappear. Images on the screen. But you, I, neither appear nor disappear. Nowhere within reality will you find an object. Objects are mind conceptions. The reality of waves is water. The reality of currents within the ocean is water. From the perspective of water, There are no waves and no currents. There's just water. Similarly, the being that you are is the only being, universal being, borderless, formless, infinite, eternal, non-local. I know myself as I am. I am the reality of presence. I never was and I never will be. I am all that is. There are no objects within I. Via the mind, I conceive of objects, nama rupa, names and forms. Like in my dreams, I conceive of various forms and shapes. None of which have an independent reality outside of I that which conceives, creates, and perceives simultaneously. As soon as you conceptualize yourself as a man or a woman, you've created the infinite forms and the sense of separation and the sense of mortality, and the worry and concern about tomorrow, and the regrets and sorrows about yesterday. Which go hand in hand with assuming yourself to be a person, a form, a mortal form, an object, a separate entity. And get wrapped up in your story about the separate entity. What happened to me? What will happen to me? When will I? How will I? But your true self, the reality which hears these words right now, poses no such questions. Whenever you conceive of yourself, you are in error. You're mistaken. Because reality does not conceive of itself. It is unconceivable. It conceives of mountains and rivers, but it in itself is inconceivable. The limitations of creation do not reach the Creator. So when you let go of your story, no matter how fearful it may seem, you are letting go of a falsehood. Because there is no story, no matter how elaborate, that can capture the reality, which is the reality of all stories. A thought cannot perceive. Physicality is an assumed model which is based on the presumption that there is a physical reality, that there is such a thing as a physical consciousness. But when you contemplate your experience, you only find awareness. All perceptions, sensations, thoughts, memories, feelings are appearances of awareness. The materialist model is a model that is standing on a belief. There is no evidence, no validation for such a model. Solid, liquid, and gases only refer to concepts, the reality of which is awareness. Sensation, the reality of which is awareness. Perception, the reality of which is awareness. In this moment, hearing, where is it? What is it? It's only awareness. Thought, the process of thinking in this moment. Where is it? What is it? It's only awareness. The process of sensing, the sensation of your feet on the ground, the sensation of the breath, where is it and what is it? You only find awareness in everything and everything. Only awareness. The formless reality, borderless, edgeless, effortless, God's being in everything and in all beings. And there are no things. we assume an external world. And due to this assumption, we feel that there is an external world. But thought and feeling they're like the sparkle of the firefly on a warm summer night. What does thought and feeling know about reality? Only I know I am the reality of being, and I am aware, the reality of awareness. Undeniable, the reality of being, the reality of awareness, undeniable. Why not stay with reality, with the reality of awareness, presence? Why assume physical reality here, mind realities, outside of our direct experience of the reality of presence, awareness, which is our reality? Can we be open to that? Come to this understanding. Okay, so if you have any questions, please make sure you unmute yourself, and it'd be lovely to see you. You can turn on your video.
Hello, Magdi.
Hello, George.
Yes, I have a question. You refer to the sensation of feet on the ground. Do I really have such a sensation? In other words, the ground and the feet seem more like perceptions. Right now, there's a sensation I have, but the feet on the ground seem more like an assumption. Am I right?
Yes. Yes. When you go to the sensation, you actually don't find any feet or any ground, right?
Okay.
So in the sensation, when you go to it, there's some sort of fuzziness or some diffuse thing. But when you get closer to this fuzzy thing, which we refer to sensation, you don't find anything. You find infinite space between particles, but in fact, even within the particle, you find infinite space. So just to sum it up, you only find awareness.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Okay, Josh. So any questions? When I say you only find awareness, only awareness finds itself. In other words, all there is awareness, this moment and every moment.
Hey, Maggie, I got a little follow-up question. I'm glad George asked that question because I've always wondered, this is going to be kind of a strange question, I think, but I've always wondered about this. Do you have any idea what happens when somebody when there's like a guillotine thing where the head gets cut off? Have you ever wondered about that? Like what happens to, I don't know. I just had to ask that question. It probably sounds like a 16-year-old question, but that's what I had in mind.
The question is what happens to what? To whom or to what? What?
I don't know. I'm wondering if there's any, they say they've picked up people pick up these heads after they've been cut off and guillotined, and there's still stuff going on there. And I've always wondered, is awareness, and this shows my lack of understanding when it comes to really what awareness is all about. But there's awareness. Is there awareness at that point that says, "Oh wow, I thought I was a unit, like a walking person, and now my head's been cut off, but I'm still here." Would that happen?
Nothing happens to awareness, Frank. Now, in your question, I feel that you're confusing the machine with awareness. You're confusing the instrument, the body-mind instrument, with the reality of the body-mind instrument. So when you are driving your car and your car runs out of gas and you ask, well, what's happening? What happens when the car runs out of gas? Well, it butters, it goes, it maybe runs another 30 feet, 20 feet, 40 feet, whatever, and then it comes to a stop and the engine shuts off. So that's what happens to the car. Now, what happens to you, the driver? Nothing. Well, it's a metaphor, okay? I understand that you get inconvenience, blah, blah, but I'm using the metaphor. Nothing happens to reality. Nothing happens to consciousness. So it depends, in your question, what happens when a guillotine chops off the neck? Well, you have to be very specific because if you're asking a neurologist, the neurologist will have a very specific answer about that. If you ask the psychotherapist will have a very different answer than the neurologist. If you ask the surgeon will have a very different answer than the neurologist and the psychologist. If you ask a sociologist, they will have a very different answer. So it depends who, if you ask the mother, the poor fellow's mother, she will have a very different answer. But if you ask the fellow whose head has been chopped, I don't think you'll get any answer. You follow what I'm saying? Your question.
Not really.
Not really. Okay.
I mean, I have a general idea that nothing can ever happen to consciousness. That I know. I mean, I feel like I have that kind of understanding, but it's beyond that. It's like, I don't know.
Well, you see, really. You are tying in consciousness with the body. In your question, there's an assumption that somehow something may possibly happen to consciousness when the brain functions, shut down, or when the heartbeat shuts down, or when the blood flows out of the body, whatever, I don't know how many liters of blood. There is an assumption in your question that something happens to consciousness. I mean, I hear it at the same time you say, well, I know nothing happens to consciousness, but I'm not believing you. Just based on your question, I'm not believing that you really you really understand that nothing happens to consciousness. Now, let's be clear, Frank, here. What I mean by consciousness is whatever it is that right now perceives this perception, hears these words. The reality that perceives right now. That which perceives right now is neither male nor female. It is not the body-mind that perceives. When you use a telescope to look at the night sky, the telescope doesn't see anything, doesn't perceive anything. There is no cognition in the telescope. When you program the computer to perform fabulous renditions, graphic renditions, and all sorts of video renditions on the screen, the computer doesn't recognize anything. It's not the computer that comprehends. So there is two different levels. There's a level of phenomena and the level of consciousness, meaning the reality which right now perceives or hears these words. That which hears these words is I, not I, Frank. Not I, Frank, who has, the head still attached to the body, has no guillotine, has severed the neck. No, that which hears the words is not the head or the body or that which perceives is not the instrument, it is consciousness. The instrument is only a medium of perception and somehow rendering these sound waves into some sort of understanding, because the computer, the brain has already been trained into English language. And because the brain has been, since a young boy, has been trained to recognize these sounds that I'm making right now, because they're being made in English, it translates and it puts the images on the screen in English. But it's not the brain that perceives the meaning. That which perceives the meaning is I perceive the meaning. So the comprehension, the understanding doesn't occur at the machine level, at the level of the instrument. the instrument performs a certain function which has been programmed to do. It doesn't program itself, it's programmed from beyond. And via its programming, it can translate, it can comprehend these words, but it cannot comprehend the words being spoken in French or Chinese or Japanese. But a different instrument, a different computer is programmed in understanding, in translating those sound waves into Spanish sound waves, for example, into a sound waves that appear on the screen. Then that machine will represent sound waves that machine A cannot translate into sound waves that machine B can translate. In either case, that which perceives and comprehends is beyond the machine. So something can happen, for example, if I fall on my head and I lose my capacity to function, the brain's capacity. When I say my capacity, means the brain's capacity to function properly. When you will be addressing this body-mind won't be able to translate these sound waves, and I will be just hearing, incomprehensible jumble. So the fact that I am hearing jumble, or I'm hearing words that I comprehend, does not change me meaning awareness. I could hear somebody singing in Chinese and I don't understand a word. I may appreciate or not the music. I may hear somebody singing in English. I may appreciate or not appreciate the music, but I will understand the words. That makes no difference in terms of my reality, that which I am, makes no difference whether I'm understanding the sounds or not via that particular body-mind instrument. Now, it is the same I, the same reality, which can understand words spoken in English via body-mind A and not understand word spoken in Chinese via body-mind A. And it's the same reality that can understand Chinese via body-mind B and not understand English via body-mind A. The understanding doesn't occur at the body-mind level. It occurs at the level of I. I understand. So one could say, well, how could I, which is consciousness, not understand Chinese, for example, via certain body-mind? How come? Well, because it chooses to. What other reality is there in your entire experience, in your entire exploration? What other reality is there outside of the reality of awareness? We all know awareness to be changeless. It's the same awareness, whether it's sunrise or sunset. It's the same awareness whether you're 41 years old or 42 years old, or 41-year-old in 5 minutes. So it's the same awareness. It's the same awareness whether your body was 5 foot tall, or later on became 5'6" tall. It's the same awareness. We all know in our experience, directly in our experience, that the reality of the reality of our experience, and the one reality is whatever it is that right now is and perceives and is the reality that is, which we all refer to as I, is not, it is not that which I perceive, because that which I perceive is constantly changing, right? So there is one reality in town, one game in town. So if you ask yourself, well, why does reality choose to perceive via a certain body mind and not perceive via another body mind that is blind, for example? Well, because it's free to do so. There's only one game in town. There's only one poker table, and the dealer and the players is one. It's one dealer, and all these players are the dealer himself, dealing to himself, winning some hands and losing some hands, crying on one side and being so joyful at how much they raked on the other side of the table. The same table, so you're on both sides. You see, you're on all sides. So that's the freedom of consciousness, and that's the creativity of consciousness. There's infinite creativity. And the mind says, well, wait a minute, no. You know, this is possible and that is not possible. The conditions that the mind presents and the obstacles that the mind presents are baseless, because the mind has no power. Mind is just a stream of thoughts, perceptions, and sensations, and the belief that there is a personal reality called the mind. But in fact, there isn't a personal reality in your experience. It's just the flow of experience. And the only thing that does not flow within your experience, that is absolute in your experience, is awareness. You've never experienced awareness flowing. You've experienced the body-mind flowing, experienced the body-mind getting sleepy, you experience the body-mind going into deep sleep, you experience the body-mind dreaming, you experience the body-mind, feeling whatever, but you haven't experienced awareness flowing. You haven't experienced awareness being tired, or awareness waking up, or awareness having a question. So awareness is not phenomenal. It is the reality which right now perceives, which is. So don't assume that awareness depends on the body in any way or any form. Why? Why would you assume that? Or on what basis are you assuming that? Outside of a belief that things should be that way.
Okay, Maggie, a lot for me to chew on here. I'm going to have to listen back to this.
Okay.
And I've got more. I've got more coming, but I'm going to stretch them out over the weeks. So I see a theme. I see a theme here in a lot of my questions that has to do with how awareness fits in with. Like I always ask myself, why don't I remember the fact that I was in deep sleep? Wasn't I there as awareness, knowing that I was in deep sleep? So these are the same questions that keep coming up to me.
Yes.
But I will keep listening for an answer.
Yes.
Thanks.
Yes, you're welcome, Frank. I mean, in terms of remembering, I mean, I remember the thought I had 4 seconds ago, or the perception I had 2 minutes ago. Why do I need to remember? You want to take you want to create a computer, and you want to have the computer sort of do all possible iterations at the same time. Right now, it's going to blow up. What for? Why do you want to remember everything now, and also perceive everything that you're creating, because you're constantly creating? What for? Why do you want to create a mind that is so, like stuff, like you can stuff 1,000 people in that room? Let me stuff another 1,000 in that room and push them with my feet and close the door. No, why would you want to do that? You could, I mean, you could, and in some cases, consciousness does. In the case of schizophrenic, or other mental situations where the brain where people remember a billion things and their mind is on fire, and they need anti whatever, they need some drugs to sort of neutralize some activities of the mind, some activities of the brain, neutralize, so that this person can when you say hello, they say hello back to you. You know what I mean? They don't just, you say hello and they're just gonna throw up all over you with the brain. Their mind is like so. But it's possible. There's nothing which is not possible to consciousness. I mean, that's, why not? But then you question, why don't you remember all of these things? Because these are the rules that this is the game that consciousness is playing right now. That's not the only game it's playing, but this is from this particular mind's perspective. This is the very specific game that consciousness is playing. It's playing the game of this game, the game of, I remember you because we've been friends for a while. I don't remember your brother. I never met him, or you don't know my brothers because you've never met him. How come you don't know my brothers? That's the game that's being played. How come I don't know your family or your friends or where you live or your address or the color of your car? That's a game that's being played. This does not mean that this limits consciousness. This only means that this is how consciousness is manifesting itself, is creating right now. But it does not mean this is the limits of what consciousness can create.
Great. Thanks, Maggie. Appreciate it.
Okay, Frank. All right, thank you. Yes, be safe. It's very challenging for the mind to sort of get it, but in time it gets it. In time it aligns itself with the understanding. The mind may make many objections, which is very good, because in each objection, in each question, there is a possibility for that appeasement to arise, that particular question to be appeased, to be sort of answered. So that's part of the process of understanding. There is a process of inquiry, which is part of the alignment of the mind according to the truth, alongside the lines of truth, the understanding about truth.
Magdi, I have a question.
Yes, Nina. Hello.
Yes, when you say this now, now at the moment there was such a big understanding inside me, and the everything that you say is clear, absolutely clear, and at the same moment it's like I have come to a place where I don't know absolutely nothing. I don't know if you know what I mean. It's like all is gone, that the mind has seen, has understood, or it's like I'm at zero.
Yes. Yes, so you only need the mind whenever it's needed. You need the mind for scheduling a meeting, for organizing a meal, there are functional aspects of the mind that are needed. And other activities, with friends and family, the mind is needed. But outside of that, the mind, the activity of the mind, the spin of the mind around me, my life, what is this, what is that, all of that starts to sort of quiet down, dissolve. You find yourself in a way like childlike, but at the same time, all is well, free and happy. Everything is sort of flowing as it is, and there are no issues, no concerns, no psychological problems to resolve. Well, I mean, there may be on occasion, who knows, some situation may arise, but yeah, the mind, the activities of thinking and feeling, all of that becomes quieter and quieter. And your natural state is just a sort of a silent, all is well, not going anywhere. You are everywhere, everything. Life flows. There is a certain ease and synchronicity in life. Is not a big deal, it's just a normal, it's just the natural flow. It's all interconnected, it's all no errors, no mistakes. Yes, that's that's my experience. And my experience is, just all is well. It's not a big deal, And, I know nothing, you're right. I know nothing. I mean, when there is a need to know, somebody asks me, gee, where is your house? Or, is Tara home? I say, oh yeah, Tara is home. Or, oh gee, I don't know, let me check if she's home or she went, Yeah, I mean, some things I know, like I know some things about the work I did. I know some things about, about my friends here. It's some things I know. But psychologically, there is nothing that I need to know, or something that's lacking, or life unfolds in all forms. It unfolds in peaceful way, in harmonious way. It unfolds in crazy, mad ways, and wars, and people being stupid, and people being kind, and it unfolds. And yesterday I was driving, there was a car accident on the side of the road. So everybody was okay. So it was nice. Yeah, so psychologically, there are no issues. And, like in terms of about reality, I mean, all of this sharing, this exploration that we do together, it seems conceptual, but it's really about our essential nature, which is everything. I mean, it's about the entire universe. I mean, this exploration is about the reality of the cosmos, the reality of mind, the reality of bodies, and it's already, the reality is already what it is. So we are not separate from this reality. So we're already this reality. So yes, I mean, as your sense of personal, identity, as that dissolves, yeah, you know less and less, but you are happy more and more. Not happy in terms of jumping up and down, happy in the natural way, the effortless way, you know, yeah. And you know, when somebody asks me and if they insist, I would say, yeah, well, I know that I am, and I know that I'm aware, and I know that there is one reality, and everything is this one reality. But that's too much talking, anyways. I mean, we speak like that in satsang because we're exploring, you know. But in life, you know, if you say hi, how are you? You know, how are you doing? Well, you know, how is the family? You know, how are things that you want a cup of tea? You want a cup of tea? We can have a cup of tea. You see. Go for a walk. Yeah, so that's as long as you're not missing something. You see, like example, like I know less and less, but I feel like I need to know something. Then there's a missing, you see. So then we can wonder, like, oh, we can look at that. What is missing and for whom? You know, for whom? Because for something to be missing, you have to be a person. Somebody has to be missing something. The universe isn't missing anything. I mean, you have to be a person to be missing something, or to be seeking something or desiring something, you see. So then we take a look and say, interesting. There's a person somewhere. So then we look around, where is this person? You know, we don't find it. We only find awareness, aware of being aware, awareness, aware of awareness. Everything is awareness. There's no other reality in our experience outside of awareness. That's so true. Yeah. So just find out what you enjoy, do what you enjoy, but no mission, not only mission, you know, let life live itself, and you explore what you like, what you like to play with, what you like to explore, what adventure you want to go on. Maybe nothing special, maybe nothing for now, whatever. See, so you never consider yourself to be a person, you see, because you are the freedom. You have the freedom and consciousness, the creativity, the freedom and the exploration, the celebration. Yeah, all of that, boom, it's available to you. So you play, it's your life, you play. It's just a amusement park. You're in the amusement park. So you amuse yourself in any way you want, you know, sweetly, you know, sweet in a sweet way. You know, so no concerns about tomorrow and this and that. No psychological concern. As long as you don't consider yourself to be a person, all is well.
Yes.
There is a dog barking in the distance. It's so beautiful. Amazing, the sound of the dog. I remember when I was a young boy, I was in a boarding school. I was young, I don't know, 8, 9, maybe, I don't know. And in the boarding school, so we lived in the boarding school. And in the dormitory was up on the second floor. It was a really beautiful stone buildings, stone that have been sort of, in all these used to chip the stone, make the stones really beautiful. And it's a really beautiful architecture, and had archways and the turret. It was a sort of built by the French, and it was a beautiful turret. It was a Christian thing. It was like the statue of the Virgin Mary, really beautiful. Lights are really lovely. But in the dormitory, I was a young boy, so the dormitory was a very, very large room, really large, and maybe probably 50 beds or something like that. And they were all boys. It was an all boys school. So you had like the bed. It was like a single bed, and you had a little sort of cupboard, next to the bed, and that's where there was a drawer, and then a little door, and you had all your clothes there. I mean, your clothes, 2 pairs of pants, a shirt, whatever. And anyway, so at night, I remember at night when there was this dog and they shut off all the lights, and there's this dog. His name was Rex. He was a school dog. And he would bark at night. And I loved listening to the dogs barking. It was it's like, it sort of took me on, with the sound of the barking, it took me to a very mysterious place. It was like a very lovely place. I think it was maybe some sort of glimpse of consciousness. And I loved hearing the dog. He barked very, very often in the night. So it was a forest. There was a lot of forest around. There was no sounds of traffic or anything like that, just the dog in the dark.
Mm.
I had many years later, I had an experience with the dog barking. Also was during meditation, during the retreat. But that was something totally different.
I so much appreciate what you told me, because the most beautiful thing that I recognize now in this moment is that it is always here. It is always here. And with this always looking for it and thinking that it will come something special, I place it otherwhere. I place it in the future. I place it in a room that there never will be something.
Yes.
And so now it is here, and it is normal. It is now. It is everywhere, and it is not separate.
Right. Yes.
Thank you. And it can be whatever it wants to be, but it is always that.
Well, thank you, Mina.
Thank you, Meg.
Any questions?
Maybe.
Yes,
It's
hello,
Judy.
Judy. Hi, Judy.
Hey. So an hour before I was scheduled to, I had rearranged my son's birthday party, and I was so excited because I could make this gathering. It meant a lot to me. And I was calling my childhood friend. We got married together, had kids together. Our daughters became best friends together. And I was calling her to tell her about, I wasn't sure what I was going to tell her, but what I was experiencing. I don't even like to use that word because sometimes that isn't used right. But I wanted to share with her because she's been a family counselor. And I got on the phone and I just, typical Judy style, started telling her, Marcy, you wouldn't believe the transformation I'm going through. And and we talk almost every day. She says, what, since yesterday you have a transformation? And I've been telling her, you know, a little bit because I don't dare talk about it because I don't have and she said, I have something, sit down, I have something to share with you and I know how you are, so you better sit down. And so our daughters were best friends, had their sons. This morning, or I don't know, everybody's time's different. She got a call. Her daughter was staying at her house from the police. Her grandson was killed in an accident. And it's her only son. I had no words. I've been a person of words my whole life. I had none. Just to say how much I loved her and her daughter, Kim. I didn't know where to go. And I actually emailed or texted, or I'm not sure what I did, to Holger and said, Holger, I don't think I could make the meeting. I'm too sad. I don't know how to deal with what's happened. We talk almost every day, my friend and our kids talk all the time. But I'm glad I came. I'm glad I came. My heart hurts. Can your heart hurt? My heart hurts. I don't know if there's such a thing. It's not having a heart attack or that kind of hurt. It just hurts. I feel hurt. And I don't know how to comfort anymore because I've always been about stories and experiences and, you know, lifelong whatever. But I think I got a lot out of tonight. And hopefully words will come, but I used to be, so I have 3 sons and a daughter, so I was a hysterical mother. My poor kids, I was always worried that something would happen when they started driving. my worst fear. But I got a lot of comfort from your meditation and from just the people talking. I'm sure I'll be there for my friend and her family. I know that.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. Well, you love her, you know, which is really beautiful. So that
I do love her.
that really, I mean, we can't top that. You know, it's not so much about words or, you know, fact that you love her. You express your love in any way. You just express your love, but just being present to her, whatever it is. You don't have to do anything or say anything because you already love her. So she knows that, she feels that. Whatever words you say come to you in the moment, you know, but you don't have to do anything because you already are doing what needs to be done, which is you love her. So that's done. It's a done deal, you know, it's like it's done. So that's it. Your love will express itself whichever way it expresses itself, you know. I mean, right now you're expressing your love to her, you know, it's being expressed. It's not, we're not apart. So anything that you do, you feel, we're interconnected. So your friend, she's right there in your heart, and you are in her heart. So that's already, that's already sealed. You know what I mean? Now, in terms of, you know, birth and death, you know, it's all very mysterious. It is mysterious. How come at this point in this child's life, you know, life ends? I have to understand that all life belongs to life. It doesn't belong to a person. Your life belongs to life. It doesn't belong to you. Life belongs to life. It doesn't belong to you. Another way of saying it is that all life is in God's hands. It's a religious way of speaking it, you know, in terms of, you know, different expression. Another way of saying is that there is one reality. There is nothing that is ever taken away or augmented to this, to reality. Nothing. I look at nature, you know, nature, how trees grow and trees, quotes unquote, die, but the forest is neither augmented nor diminished by the trees, you know. Or look at an orange tree, how many oranges are ripen on the tree and fall off the tree. Life and death is nothing that is taken away from reality or augmented to reality. So you have to see that, you know, you have to see that big picture. It's the higher understanding. And also, the mind cannot comprehend. The mind only is limited in what it can comprehend, which is fine. It doesn't. We don't want to overburden the mind to comprehend the whole universe. It'll short circuit itself. It's limited. And how do we know that the passing of this child isn't part of the awakening of somebody else? That the passing of this child is intimately connected with the awakening of somebody else. How do we know that? We don't know. We don't know. Of course, you know, there is a sadness because, you know, there is a fondness in being together and becoming familiar with each other. We meet, we love each other, we share time together. there's a certain fondness. And of course, we feel sorrow, you know, of losing a friend, a pet, somebody dear to us, child, a parent. It's a normal, powerful process of this experience, the sweet sorrow. There's a sweet sorrow about love and relationships and friends that leave and you don't see them, you remember them with fondness and times you spent together, sweet times you spent together. So I like to say that love never dies. Forms come and go. There's a learning in everything that happens to us. There is a learning, a potential for us to learn, to grow, to ripen, to mature via everything that happens to us. You know, the sequoia trees, I read somewhere that the sequoia trees, through the fires, when there are forest fires, and the fact that they burn a little bit is part of what makes them somehow grow better. And also all the burning of the earth below the sequoia trees is part of what makes the sequoia trees, you know, even grow for longer periods of time. So there's a difference between, you know, celebrating life, including the sadness in life. This is celebration of the sadness. And having a narrative about life. So I always invite myself to be narrative free. This doesn't mean to be emotional free or to be sort of a blank state. No.
Yeah.
Life, the interactions, the kindness, the sorrow, but to be narrative free, not to make a narrative about this or that. Remain narrative free, remain open, childlike, open heart, open mind.
Yeah.
So that's the best way you can be with your friend.
Thank you.
Not to cultivate any narrative. She may have her own narrative. It's okay, but not to bring in your own.
Mhm. Thank you.
Now, in terms of sharing about non-duality, let's say, just a couple of words that is to comprehend that when it comes to what we're exploring together here, is not equally available. Well, okay, it's available to everybody, but not equally. People aren't equally ready to comprehend it or to even get close to comprehend what we are talking about. That's all I wanted to say about that. So
Thank you.
sometimes you have to pace what you are sharing, you know.
Mhm.
But I understand your excitement, and of course,
I am.
yeah.
Thank you. That was wonderful.
Okay. My best to your friend and to you. Okay, well, very lovely to be with you all. Holger, Trish, Judy, Grace, Frank. Hello, Nathan, Walter, Manoj, Alan, George. Hey, Patrick, Nina. Hello, Nina. Jenny. And of course, my sweetheart, Tara. Thank you all. Thank you all.
Thank you, Magdi.
Thank you.
Thank you, Maggie.
Thank you, Magdi. Thank you all.
Thank you.